Yo, welcome to Fast Forward Mindset Motivational Podcast. I'm your host, Coach James. This is where we rewire your thoughts, reset your mindset, and fast forward your life. No more rewinding, just discipline, motivation, and the truth you need to become unstoppable. If you're ready to elevate your mindset and take control of your future, you're in the right place. Let's go.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Hope all is going well. So, y'all, the Arizona Wildcats are in the Final Four. I'm excited about that. But let me tell y'all what my hangup is with this, is that every year Arizona have a great team. They normally go out and get these top prospects or whatever you want to call them, recruits, to come play basketball, right? They even got LeBron James' son, the young one, Bryce James. And so they go get these players, and every year, everyone is like, oh, yeah, Arizona's great. They're going to take it. They're going to win it this year. And we'll get right there, and at the last minute, we just lose it. So I'm excited we are in the Final Four, but I'm also trying to stay a little bit positive about it because, like I said, every year Arizona is projected to win the championship. So we'll see. Anyways, y'all, clarity is king. And let me tell y'all why I say clarity is king. Because a lot of people like to use the word, I need closure. And we all know a lot of people want closure when they go through a bad relationship, a bad breakup, or what have you, right? A lot of people say, I want closure. I need closure. And so, in my opinion, clarity is what you really need. Y'all do me a favor, go outside this episode, hit that follow button. When you hit that follow button, you'll never miss a moment to rewire the way you think. But back to what I was saying, y'all. Clarity is king. We should want clarity, clarity, and drive to have clarity versus closure. And I'm going to tell y'all the reason why. I got some things I want to share with y'all about why clarity is king and closure is never going to get you to where you need to be to move forward. Okay. But my question is y'all, why do we starve so much for closure? Why? Uh, like I just said, the example I just shared was with relationships. Some of us say, well, I need closure. I want closure. I want to know why. I want to know when, right? And like I said, closure is not going to give you the answers that you need. People say, I want to meet with this person because I need closure. But be careful because in a lot of cases, closure may not and will not get you what you need to move forward. It just does not, right? And so clarity is king. Closure, when you want closure, that's validation. Y'all know what type of validation I'm talking about? It's external validation, right? You want to hear that person say something that you were thinking or something that you thought. Yeah, see, I knew you were cheating on me this whole time, for example. Yeah, I knew you fell out of love with me 2 years ago, right? Because that's some of us consider that closure. It's what that you need and what we ask for. But I'm here to tell you that closure equals validation. And validation means that you are wanting someone to validate your feelings, right? And so closure, like I said, maybe not get you the answers that you need, but clarity will bring you peace. Clarity is internal validation, right? Once you can move forward with clarity, it brings you peace. When you're peaceful, you can understand the parts that you did well and the parts where you made a mistake. Now, y'all, I've been in several relationships, and let me just say this, y'all. It takes two people to mess up a relationship. Right. And I know a lot of us like to portray, oh, I'm perfect and I didn't do anything wrong. I was the best one in this relationship and I love this person what's the word they use? Unjudgmentally. It's just one of those things where people like to get themselves caught up in their own little soapbox, like I was the best one in this relationship, but you're the one who ruined it. But again, my point is that it takes two people to ruin a relationship, right? And not just a romantic relationship, a friendship, family ship, a business partner, right? It takes two people to ruin it. And that's why clarity is king, for you to understand what you did wrong so you can grow from that, right? I remember my daughter was in a relationship, and it was a tough relationship for her. And my wife had to be with her by her side to help her get through this relationship. We had to keep kind of reminding her that the relationship was not a good relationship to be in. And we didn't step our bounds, y'all. Let me just say that we let her make her own decisions. But however, when she started to self-reflect and say it was her fault or this happened, that happened, we just had to slightly remind her of the way the relationship started and how it ended, so she wouldn't take blame for herself. And one day, we feel like she had got over it. She was moving forward. She was being more positive in life. Things were going great. And all of a sudden, she was like, well, I think I need to reach out to this person because I feel like I need closure. And when she said that, right away, my mind was like, you don't need closure. You already have your clarity. And when I said that to her, she was like, well, what do you mean by that? I said, the clarity is that you understand what you did right. You understand what you did wrong. And now you have peace from it. That's your internal validation that you are over it and you can move forward. And she kind of bantered back and forth with me. Y'all know how some people is when their mind is made up, especially your children. They feel like that they know more than their parents. And I'm not saying they don't. This is not a knock to children, because some of y'all do know more than us, because you've experienced different things than we have. Let me put it that way. Right. But in that moment, it was just a moment of clarity to say, you already validated what went wrong. Why do you need closure? You're past closure. You have your clarity. And, for a minute she thought about it, and then she came back to her senses like, I think you are right. I feel like I do have my clarity with it. I guess I was just having a moment. And we have moments with relationships where we want to go backwards, right? And when we go backwards, it just throws us for a loop. I saw this meme on Facebook, and it said something to the fact that don't look backwards. You're not going that way. You're only going forward. And when you go forward, that means you have clarity. When you have clarity, you have peace. And when you have peace, you have internal validation. So closure is never going to get you to where you need to be ever. You should look for clarity, right? And I got some more definitions that I got for closure that I want to talk through. Closure may reopen the wounds, right? Closure may open up those old feelings and those old emotions. I know when I was in a relationship, and once that old wound get opened back up, you start to feel those feelings for that person you had. And those feelings are probably validated. They should happen, right? But at the same time, once you refill that feeling, you want to start looking backwards in the rearview mirror and say, well, if we would have done this, we would be here today. If we would have done that, this probably wouldn't be the case. And I'm here to tell you that closure is just going to open up old wounds. You don't need to go down that path. Like I said a minute ago, don't look backwards. You're not going that way. You're going forward, right? And so closure may reopen the wound. So you want to be careful with that. Clarity is what finally heals the wound, right? Like I said, clarity is your peace. It's your internal validation within yourself, knowing that the relationship is where it's supposed to be at today, at an end. So I remember for myself, because y'all know, boy, and I've been through some relationships in this past, right? And I feel like those past relationships that I've been through helped me to be the husband I am to my wife today. I wasn't always perfect in those relationships. I did and said things I shouldn't have done, and I reacted to things in a manner that I should not have reacted on. But I understand it now today because of clarity, right? And so I was able to find healing within myself because now I have clarity. I understand what I did wrong. I understand what I did right. But that's why I got clarity, because I understand that, and now I've moved past those wounds, and they're no longer going to be open again, ever. At least not from a past relationship. I'm in a marriage now. I've been married to my wife for 10 plus years. We've been in a relationship for 15, 16 years. So why would I go back to old wounds and old relationships, right? With any relationship, not just romantic relationships. I said that a minute ago. But like I said, y'all, clarity is what finally heals the wounds. Closure brings up the emotions again. It brings the emotions back. It's just a recycling system. It's like a washer machine when it's on spin cycle. It just goes and goes and goes and goes. And then finally it stops. But when it stops, where does it leave you? That's the question. In the washer machine, when the spin cycle stops, the clothes should be drier. So the cycle is done. Now you can put them in the dryer to finish out the dry process. But for us, we're not a washer machine. And so when that spin cycle was going, it bring those emotions back. Where does it leave you? And I tell you now, more than likely, it doesn't leave you dry. It leaves you wet and feeling stuck again. Right? So closure brings back old memories and emotions that you don't need to go down anymore because you've already crossed that bridge. Clarity changes your perspective. Clarity will and can change your perspective. Like I said earlier about my daughter, it changed her perspective. She started to really understand what went right, what went wrong on her part, and why she should continue to move forward and move on. So clarity will bring you a perspective, but you got to be willing to accept whatever the perspective is, right? So you just have to really, really understand and move forward, right? So clarity can and will change your perspective, but you got to be willing to accept it, whatever it is. Okay. Clarity is king, y'all. Clarity is where it's at. So next time you get in you have to go through a bad breakup, a bad relationship, a bad partnership, whatever it is, just remember, you don't need closure. You need clarity, right? And clarity is king. And when I say clarity, y'all, it doesn't mean you need to meet back up with that person and talk through it. Yeah, well, if you are willing to understand them and not allow their response to you wanting to meet back to leave you on a spin cycle and push your emotions back in the whirlwind, you're good. You can meet up with that person. You can talk through it. You can end on a positive resolution. But if it's not going to be a positive resolution, why meet back up? Why not just focus on internal clarity and move forward? Right? Because that's where it's at. The internal clarity is where it's at. Not meeting up with that person, not hearing them saying sorry, not hearing them say I did you wrong, not hearing them say I took advantage of you. It's you internally getting over the hurt and the pain. And that's where your clarity is going to come from, is once you get over the hurt and the pain. So in some cases, you don't need to meet up with someone. You don't need to hear them tell you anything. In some cases, you might want to meet up with somebody. It just depends on how the scenario ends, right? Or what are you looking to get out of it? Just because you meet up with someone does not mean they're going to tell you what you want to hear, and that's just going to fix the problem. Because I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, it's not. It's just going to bring those old wounds and emotions right back, and it's going to open that cut. I got a scar right here. Not a scar. I got this mark on my forehead, and y'all probably can't see it now, but a couple of months ago it was darker. And I went to the dermatologist because I was kind of getting weirded out. I was dealing with some issues with my sinuses. So I was like, wait a minute, why do I got this dark spot in the middle of my forehead? And so I go to a dermatologist. She walks in and she's like, hey, Mr. Watkins, nice to meet you. What can I help you with? I said, well, I got the state of Texas tattooed on my forehead. Can you help me fix that? She starts laughing out of nowhere. I mean, it was the funniest thing she probably heard all day long. And she starts telling me the scenarios like, hey, I don't think it's anything cancerous. I don't think it's anything bad. She goes, tell me about what you were doing, why you might have that spot there. And I said, well, I play basketball a couple of times a week. I said, I'm a sweaty guy. And because I'm a sweaty guy, I try to trap my sweat with a headband. And a couple of times I was wearing a headband. One time I pulled it off and I noticed I had a dry spot on my forehead. She goes, haha, that was probably it. She go, let me explain the treatment process, or however you said, the healing process for that spot. She goes, it was more likely probably a rash from the sweat. She goes, and it's healing up. She goes, it's like when you skin your knee. You have the scab. Once the scab fall off, you see the pink skin. And once you see once the pink skin starts to come through the skin, and then it initially goes back and turns to its normal color, but it takes time. She goes, well, Mr. Watkins, that's what it is on your forehead. You had a rash. This is the mark that it left because it's healing, and it healed darker than the rest of your skin. She goes, that's the healing process. She goes, so it's nothing bad. It's just the healing process. And y'all, I explain that to y'all to explain to you that sometime when you heal from the clarity, it may look a little different than what you expect it to look. But at the end of the day, clarity is king because you know why you got the spot on your forehead. And you know never to wear a headband again because it's going to leave more spots. I laugh, y'all, but no, clarity is king. And if you are looking to move past a bad scenario, you must find clarity. Okay. This is what I want to leave y'all with. You don't need closure to move on, but you do need clarity to grow. Thank y'all for listening. I really appreciate it. To my continued followers, I really appreciate y'all. Thank you for all the comments. Remember, if you haven't hit that follow button, go hit the follow button. When you do, you never miss a moment to rewire the way you think. Y'all go check out my website. It's www.rewirethewayouthink.com. I'm not hard to find, y'all. I'm on IG all day, every day. It's James Watkins at 40 and Fit Life Coach. If you're struggling today with thoughts of suicide, thoughts of hurting yourself or someone else, please don't hesitate to call the Suicide Prevention Hotline at 988. Hey, y'all, I'm Coach James. Let me help rewire the way you think. And as I always say, practice daily mindset rehabilitation. And that's my 2 cents in there, y'all. Peace.
Thank y'all for listening to today's episode. And remember, don't rewind your life, fast forward it. Until next time, keep moving forward. Hey, y'all, I'm Coach James. Let me help rewire the way you think. All right, y'all. Peace.